In this video, I'm going to be showing the real De La Riva guard as shown to me in person by Ricardo De La Riva himself back, I believe it was like the late 90s, early 2000s. I learned this series with Ricardo De La Riva and one of his top black belts, Marcello Monteiro, who's also the person who promoted me to black belt. I have a story about the De La Riva guard that I just have to share with you guys. It's one of my most embarrassing jiu-jitsu experiences. And man, looking back, it's so hilarious. It's like one of my favorite stories to tell. So back in the 90s, I had a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu VHS video series available. And I haven't watched it in a while because I don't have a VHS player, but I'm sure it's very cringy. I'm sure it's horrible. And I think back then, I thought I knew everything. And in that video series, I show the De La Riva guard. Now I'm trying to think back, how did I even learn the De La Riva guard? I'm gonna say I probably didn't. I was training with Pedro Sauer at the time, and I don't remember if he ever showed me anything. I do remember I learned a little bit from a Hoist Gracie seminar. And so what did I actually show for the De La Riva guard in this VHS series? I have no idea. But I was training in Indiana at a martial arts academy, and I just got done with a class, and I went into a room, and there's Marcello Monteiro and Ricardo De La Riva sitting on a couch together, and they're watching my video series. And I walk in, I'm just like, "Oh, what's up, guys?" Forgive my bad Portuguese accent, but Marcello or De La Riva were like, "Bro, Justin, we're watching your video series, man, learning a lot about the De La Riva guard." And then they said something to each other in Portuguese, and they just started dying laughing. Man, well, thankfully, I did have the opportunity to learn the real De La Riva guard, and I'm going to show some of those techniques coming up in this video right now.
All right, Dave's going to film this. Here we go. All right.
So here, okay, I'm a little fat, but hopefully Sean can lock his legs around me. He can. I'm going to have a good posture inside the guard. My elbow's turned this way. I'm looking straight up. Good posture, okay? So if I turn my elbow down, see how my elbow's facing down? If he pulls me with his legs, he can break my posture and he can start to work chokes and arm bars and all the bad stuff I don't want. So my elbow goes this way, my hand goes here. I'm not going to dig my elbow into his knee prematurely because he can push my hand and make a triangle choke. And I've been caught by that, and I've caught a lot of people with that. So I keep it on the outside for a second, and I'm aware of that. My knee goes in between his legs, and I turn my body to open, okay? What I was just saying is if you're struggling to open the guard with this, there's other things I can teach you to open the guard, but just go ahead and let your partner do the motion because we're all learning right now, right? And if they just squeeze you and they're never going to open their guard, I mean, in a real fight, you just punch them and then their guard's going to open, right? There's not a lot they can do to you if they don't choose to open the guard anyways. But as soon as his legs come up here, he's now making like what's called an open guard position. Does that make sense? So from here, there's bad things he can do to me with his feet on my hips. Here, if he just tries to pull, so if I open his guard and now he pulls me back into his legs, pull me back, he's using his strength against my strength, which is not jiu-jitsu. So if somebody opens your guard, you're going to put your feet here and you're going to work the open guard. To make the open guard, you're going to bring your shins inside, boom. And now there's all kinds of bad things he can do to me. One of the easiest things he can do is take this foot and put it on my shoulder, and he can make the triangle choke. Another really easy thing he can do to me is he can push away to create some space, and he can bring one shin up here and this foot down by my knee, and he can sweep. Okay, let's go back. So he has my open guard. He makes some space, okay? Now he turns, this foot's here. It can push my knee or it can cut underneath like a scissors. This shin goes up into my ribs or my bicep, cannot point here. If it points here, I'll just sprawl over his legs and begin to pass. So it's got to be up a little bit. So here it gets up, and then he's going to make, so there we go. Okay, let's practice those moves. You don't even have to do both of them, just practice moving back to open the guard. They make the open guard. You can choose triangle or push sweep, but it's from this position like this. It's from here. Okay, ready guys? Good triangle choke. You got long legs, you got a good triangle choke, you want to choke me in the video. Who is it? Who's got it? Thomas? Thomas, you have long legs. Come on, Thomas. Okay, open guard is a powerful position for him because you get someone who's a lot bigger than you or stronger, bigger, maybe they're a wrestler and they're kind of like always moving towards you. From here, oh hey Torrin, could you run and just turn the ring timer off real quick? Just unplug it from the wall. So from here, he doesn't feel pressure. Keep me away from you a little bit. Keep me away, yeah. I feel like the open guard was designed for, MMA, Jiu-Jitsu guys came up with it when people are raining down punches. And the first time I ever saw the open guard, my Jiu-Jitsu coach had me bring your hip really high. He had me go here, so I couldn't reach. So I think this is how open guard kind of evolved, right? Now, you guys are trying to do triangle choke, you're trying to do the sweep. I'm just gonna show you guys a couple tricks. So first trick is try the sweep. So when he goes for the sweep, now hold on, make a little more distance. So back up a little bit, there you go. So you're making a little distance. Now when he goes for the sweep, oftentimes they base with this arm. So my elbows just hit the ground. So there's two really easy moves here, an omoplata or a triangle. If I balance with my arm, he can pull this leg out and he can now hit the triangle. Oh my gosh, Thomas. Next time I'm gonna pick someone who doesn't choke so hard. Okay, so here we go. He's coming here. He goes for the sweep. Oh, I base. So he pulls this out. He goes for a triangle choke. See? You can, some of you who know the omoplata, you can see there's an omoplata there. Now, I don't actually want you to omoplata me, but there it is. Okay? All right. If you know the omoplata, go for it. You don't know it, that's okay. Now, I'm going to sweep you once, Thomas, okay? It's okay if you guys are having a challenge with this technique and you don't quite have it down yet. Continue practicing those moves. You can get a lot better at them. Move back. Feel their base. Boom. Okay, so kind of feel, create space, feel their base, and then hit the sweep when you need to. We're still not to the technique that I'm actually trying to teach. So here we go. So around the room, we have a lot of new people at Jiu-Jitsu. New meaning, white to blue belts. Almost everybody here, I don't know, you guys can't see everybody, but most everybody's white to blue belt. I got a couple higher belt level people, but lots of what I was going to consider beginners in Jiu-Jitsu. And what I'm noticing is everybody is struggling to make submissions from the open guard. I even saw a lot of people just fall back to closed guard and just do submissions from closed guard because that's what you're used to. Everybody in Jiu-Jitsu knows how to do the arm bar, the triangle, the Kimura lock, the X-choke from that closed guard. So what I'm doing is I'm moving backwards, and now he has to work this open guard. But now I'm going to take it one step further. I'm going to hug his legs. So he can't try to triangle choke me. He can't. He could still catch an omoplata though. And also his legs are going to be stronger than my arms, so I can't stay here forever. But I hug his legs, and I put my knee up in between his legs, and I posture like this. Now I want to show you guys, this is strategy. Is here, my opponent on his back, seen, can work white belt moves. White belt in one stripe, the arm bar, the triangle, the Kimura lock, all the basics. I move back, and now it gets a little more complicated for him. Now I bring my knee up and I do this, it's going to get real complicated. If he doesn't know spider guard, De La Riva guard, he's not going to be able to beat me from this position. And even then, he might be new, those moves might be new to him. He might not have had a lot of time trying to get them to work. So this is where I'm passing the guard. I'm bringing my knee up to pass the guard. So I'm forcing him to do harder techniques for me. So we're going to come up, bring the knee up, and we're going to pass the guard. You can either go under the legs or over the legs to pass the guard. There's a lot of different ways to do it. My favorite way to go over the legs is to catch the pants here, come here, drive this. I step over, I make the grip, I'll hug his head, now I pass the guard. That's my favorite way. My favorite way to go under the legs is to catch the collar, drop my shoulder really low, use my body to make, so I use the whole strength of my body to come here, feed the gi, catch the back of his pants, touch his knee to his face, and pass the guard. Those are my two favorite ways. I don't care what you guys do, I just want you to see you back up, bring your knee up, and pass the guard. You do cartwheel guard pass, make some crazy stuff up, I don't care. Just bring the knee up and pass the guard. Okay, ready? Here we go. Okay, so now we're gonna do the De La Riva techniques. These are the techniques that I learned right from the source, Ricardo De La Riva, with the person who promoted me to black belt, Marcello Monteiro. Of course, I learned this after Ricardo watched my video on VHS from De La Riva guard, and he had quite a few corrections to make. So let me show you how the De La Riva guard is really done straight from the source, Ricardo. So here we go. So my opponent is in my guard. He has his knee up. Okay, so he's going to go to pass my guard, right? So a couple things here is I'm going to take this and I'm going to bring my knee inside and I'm going to catch his ankle. So my knee stays inside and I catch his ankle. This is my first position. Now, by holding his ankle, if he's sitting down a little bit on his hip, okay, well, let me explain this. Is I want to try to get my foot inside his leg. Now, this is our standard De La Riva guard with the foot inside. But to show you guys, you may have already experienced this. If he pushes his knee that way, ooh, it's pretty uncomfortable. I don't like that at all. It messes up my knee. You still see a lot of schools do this, and it could still be effective, but I've always liked to just put my leg all the way through. And I'm just going to say that Ricardo De La Riva suggested that I do that, because I told him, I said, man, it hurts me a little bit. They just push their knee, and it hurts my knee. I don't like it. And he said, oh, put your leg through. When I'm holding the ankle, if he's sitting down a little bit and I can't get my leg through, I can kind of open his leg a little bit so that I can put that through. Another thing that I'll do is I'll use this shin here as kind of like a windshield wiper here to open it, so I get a really good opening there so I can put my foot in. Now, since I'm already controlling the sleeve, my first sweep is just to dump him that way, here. Now, when I throw him, if you notice, I'm facing him, and so he's always going to be defending with his arms, trying to regard. So see? So I go over his arm and I catch inside his collar. Then this hand is going to grab his leg and keep that to the floor, and I'm going to move around to his back. So now I've been able to move around him. Let's try that again. So this is the first De La Riva sweep, and there's a lot of different sweeps from this position. I'm going to show a couple of them, right? I can't give away every secret right now, but okay, I'll show a couple. All right? So I'm here, catch here like this. Now I move, I put my foot here, and he's already going that way. So I'm going to drive him this way. He's blocking with his hands, no problem. I come here, I catch his leg, and I just walk around him, and now I take his back. All right, you guys, so when I'm teaching the sweeps, what I like to explain to my students is that there's 4 basic directions we can go. So I can throw him that way, I can throw him that way, I can throw him backwards, I can throw him over there. In this video, again, I'm not going to give away every secret, every trick. I do have an online program. The link will be in the video here, so if you go to the link in that description, you could sign up for my online program, and that show all this stuff. Marcello, De La Riva, if you see this, hopefully you're not mad at me for that, but I show a lot of stuff. So we're here. One technique that I really like to do also is to kind of stand in base here, especially if they're sitting back a little bit. If I sit up and he's sitting back a little bit, I can catch his collar here or here, almost doesn't matter. But I put this hand on the floor, this foot goes flat, and I raise my hip up, and I pull my leg like I'm standing in base. And I'll throw him down here. Now, because I had the grip here, I can do a knee slicer pass to pass the guard right away. As I'm doing this, I'm always aware that they can go to my back. So I see a lot of people teach this move with this collar so that they can come here, or they'll make an underhook so they can't get my back. But I'm going to tell you guys, as long as you're aware of it, they're probably not going to take your back. Same thing. Here, I catch the ankle, I bring the leg inside. Okay, now I come up, hand on the floor, I raise my hip, and I'm going to push him straight back. Make sure I don't get my back taken, and knee slicer pass right there. One more detail. That's not a De La Riva sweep, but you're going to find it's going to work all the time for you, and it's going to work for, a beginner student can do this really easy. So, oftentimes, when we're here like this, and I have this grip, my opponent starts to feel like, this isn't good. I'm going to try to stand up to pass the guard. So as soon as he stands up, because I already have the ankle, all I have to do is transfer my foot to his hip, transfer this foot below his knee, and I can make the push-pull sweep really easy because he's right in position. So start from your knees. So I'm here, getting ready to make the De La Riva sweep, but he stands up, so I just switch my feet. Now I'm going to push-pull. I'm going to catch a ride with him. As he goes down, I'm going to come up. I bring my knee up, and now we could drill where he could do the move to me, or I could lift his ankle and make a big step as I start to pass the guard. Now, there's a lot more to the De La Riva guard, but I can't give away everything in this YouTube video. But for me, it's a really funny story where those guys, Ricardo De La Riva and Marcello, had my instructional series back in the 90s when I obviously didn't know anything at all. I was a purple belt, but I probably should have been a blue belt. And, you know, this was the first 3 techniques that Ricardo De La Riva ever showed me. Would love to show you guys more at some point, but for now, let's practice those 3.